Hello, welcome again to ITU Telecom World 2011 here in Geneva in Switzerland, and I'm talking with Brahima Sanou, who is the Director of the Telecommunications Development Bureau of the ITU. Mr. Sanou, thanks for talking to us. Begin at the beginning. What is the BDT doing to ensure that all the countries of the world can participate in telecommunications development and in some cases even leapfrog generations of technology altogether?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Actually, ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau has always been in the front in trying to put in place an enabling environment. When you look at what happened in the developing countries, the first wave of reform that brought about liberalization and creating of regulatory body and creating competition was spearheaded by ITU in Africa, in the Arab states, in Americas. So it is after that we have seen the big development of mobile, creating a good environment had led to a big development of mobile in the developing countries. And now we're trying to see what we can do also to have a second wave of reform that will take into account the convergence of services, of infrastructure, and also service provider. The other thing we are doing is capacity building, because I always say that you can buy technology, but you cannot own it unless you have the capacity. So then capacity building is one of the issues I've been working on and also the partnership between private and public sector, because it's very important, very important. We have been working on that for the past 20 years and a yielding result, as you can see in the development. Now we're going to the broadband instead now, and we want to make sure that the success we get in the developing countries in the development of mobile, we can have the same in the development of broadband in the way that really ICT could be used as a leverage for development, social and economic development.
How do you actually go about doing that? Broadband, it's easy to put a broadband network in Geneva or in London or in New York in the developed world. The facilities, the money is already there. In the developing world, this is not the same at all. There is less money, obviously. Many places do not have a fixed infrastructure of any sort. Putting broadband in under those circumstances becomes problematical. How do you do it?
I think you have to tackle it in two ways. You have to play on two leverage, if I may say. The first one is putting. You said that money is not there. I would rather say money is there if you have the good policy, because private sector is always available to invest, and other stakeholders are always available and ready to invest if you put in place the enabling environment in terms of policy and regulation. So this is one thing we have to play on. The second we have to play on is to create the demand. Because so far, when you look at in the developing countries, I was talking just about development mobile, but this mobile so far used only for phone and personal communications. Okay, but I would see now that with the development, the government should become themselves the first client of the broadband, because don't expect a private sector to bring broadband in the rural areas where there is no demand for them and no business opportunity. But if the government can become the first client, putting in place social services such as e-education, e-health, okay, e-agriculture, then we will see a reason it could create a demand in the rural area that will bring broadband. So I would say two. First, the enabling environment. Second, the government playing a role in the demand side. This can be a way to develop broadband in the developing countries.
And where does the BDT sit in this scheme of things? Are you a sort of honest broker, helping both sides to meet? Are you a catalyst? How do you operate?
We are really, I would say, the first catalyst in this area, and we are doing a lot on that, as I said. So we just finished the Global Symposium for Regulators in Armenia City in Colombia, where every year we bring together all the regulators of the world to shape best practices. And this year, actually, the theme was Smart Regulation for a Broadband World. So, which means that we have some best practices a country can use. Of course, we are in close cooperation with the government, the regulatory bodies, and the private sector also. We are organizing every year also a meeting for the private sector of the world to get together and try to see how together with the regulator they can work together for the development of the broadband. So we are really, I would say, a broker or a catalyst, first place catalyst, because as you know, ITU have got 193 countries, member states, and more than 700 sector member, including private sector, academia. So we have a very large, I would say, basis of membership that allow us to play this role, this unique role of broker amongst all those various stakeholders.
You mentioned the 193 member countries. Of course, the latest to join is the new country of South Sudan, which is, by anybody's standards, a developing country. It's it's very, very poor place at the moment. Are you taking the South Sudan, for example, as a case in point? Can you tell us something about what you expect the BDT can bring to help this newly emergent country? Yes,
South Sudan joined ITU only on the 3rd of October, becoming the 193rd country, a member state of ITU. Of course, as a newcomer, we are putting a lot of emphasis to bring them to a minimum level. Having said that, we are going to work with all the developing countries. Of course, South Sudan have special need. We're going to take care of that to get them. I was there myself, so to meet the authorities and to see how can ITU can help them. Again, because the telecommunication network, the way we see it in ITU is that the robustness of the telecommunication network will be at the level of the weakest part of it, because it's a global network. Then we have to work to put a lot of effort to make sure that the weakest part get a certain level that can benefit all the network. So for this reason, we are going to put a lot of effort to assist South Sudan in terms of infrastructure, in terms of capacity building is a big issue, and also in terms of putting in place an enabling environment. I come back every time on that. This is where really we can attract investment. So we are on it, we are working on it to assist them.
Okay. Brahima, Sanou, thank you very much indeed.
My great pleasure.